upstanding for the platform party.
Please be seated. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our white coat ceremony, the first such ceremony we've had in nearly 2 years now. I'd like to particularly extend a very warm welcome to all your family and friends who are watching this event by live streaming from all around the world. My name is Professor Cathal Kelly. I'm Vice Chancellor, CEO, Registrar of RCSI University of Medicine Health Sciences, and I am a proud alumnus of RCSI. The annual White Coat Ceremony is one of the highlights of our undergraduate school's calendar, welcoming the arrival of new students beginning your journey as healthcare professionals. Due to the pandemic, we've had to reschedule the White Coat Ceremony on more than one occasion, so it's a great pleasure to welcome you all in person to this very special White Coat Ceremony. Since the college was founded in 1784, RCSI graduates have continuously pursued excellence and have pushed the barriers of healthcare innovation, many going on to become worldwide leaders in their field. You too have now joined our RCSI global family and are part of the RCSI story. The White Coat Ceremony originated in RCSI during the 1990s as a result of a students' union request for an occasion to acknowledge the introduction of students into the anatomy room in a way when they became real students. It has since progressed to a formal, significant event for all our new students of medicine, pharmacy, physiotherapy, and physician associate studies. We are here today to witness you recite the RCSI Declaration with our President, Professor Ronan O'Connell. We know that you, as our newest healthcare students, are committed to becoming healthcare professionals and leaders of the future. It's now my great pleasure to introduce the platform party. To the centre, behind the nace, is Professor Ronan O'Connell, President of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. From your right, seating and in order, we have Professor Clive Lee, Professor of Anatomy at RCSI, Ms. Karina Bryan, Head of Student Services Office at RCSI, Professor Dennis Harkin, Chair of Medical Professionalism, Professor Maria Morgan, Director of Year 1 Medicine Programme, Professor Arnold Hill, Head of the School of Medicine at RCSI, Professor Hannah McGee, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Marie McElroy, Deputy Director of Year 1 Medicine Programme, Jyoti Dewan, President of the RCSI Students' Union, Emmanuel Aqueri, Students' Union Education Officer, and Mr. Frank Donegan, Mace Bearer. It now gives me enormous pleasure to call on Professor Hannah McGee, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs of RCSI, to address you on professionalism at RCSI.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm really delighted to welcome you here in person and for family and friends online to your first event with the senior faculty here who are and who will instruct you and guide you and support you throughout your studies. Their participation today signifies the importance of this ceremony, this first formal introduction to professionalism in your studies. You'll be expected from the outset at RCSI to understand the responsibilities you undertake and the privileges that you will receive as a student healthcare professional. The White Coat Ceremony is a recognition that you, our students, are embarking on important professional healthcare careers with responsibilities for patients. And this ceremony is your first formal introduction to professionalism. The ceremony exposes the 4 core values of RCSI: R for respect, C for collaboration, S for scholarship, and I for innovation. Qualifying as a health professional involves undertaking academic studies combined with training as an apprentice in many healthcare settings. This essential partnership training is possible for you because in this society, patients and their families generously allow their care to be delivered in a teaching environment, and they permit you as students to learn about healthcare delivery while they as patients are being treated for often serious, worrying and distressing conditions. Without this generosity of spirit by patients and their families, the education for health professionals would not be meaningfully possible. Among the generosity of spirit from the public, we count the generosity of those who donate their own bodies and the families of those donors. Their amazing generosity enables your training in the anatomy room, and you will hear next from our Professor of Anatomy, Professor Clive Lee. One way to signal the rite of passage for you beginning your career as a healthcare professional in RCSI is to use this metaphor of the white coat. The white coat symbolises many things, 2 of which are of particular salience for you today. Firstly is the role of health professional, be you a trainee physician, pharmacist, physiotherapist, or physician associate who will be caring for their patient. And secondly, the role of the scientist, the professional who is up to date and understands the key scientific evidence and who is an informed and skilled interpreter of that evidence for their patient. We know, of course, white coats are no longer worn in many health professional environments. Nonetheless, it remains a powerful symbol of the roles you are undertaking as evidence-based healthcare professionals. As the health professionals of the future and the trainee health professionals of now, you will each encounter challenges particular to yourselves as you learn about the variety of human conditions, disease, disability, mental health challenges, interpersonal and family challenges such as poverty, interpersonal violence, infertility, addiction, etc. Many challenges, as well, of course, as the joyous episodes of human experience that are the rare privilege of health professionals to witness and to share with the patient. While the things that will be of particular challenge to you, perhaps because of a family death or illness, or a resemblance of a patient to someone that you know in your own life, these challenges will differ. You will all share that commonality of upsetting experiences during your training and the need for some extra support or kindness at tough times from others. So your good days in your training may be somebody else's tough days. So approach each other with caution and with care, and ask for and give compassion and support to others when they need it. Your careers are not ones to be faced as perfectionists alone. Teamwork skills will be essential to your success. You will all work together as part of interprofessional teams in the common goal of leading the world to better health in your careers. A key part of your graduation ceremony today, a key part of your graduation ceremony will be the RCSI Graduates Declaration that you will make. This declaration, based on the ancient Hippocratic Oath that was used in the qualification of doctors, is a modern-day statement shaped by RCSI students, which states their commitment to the ideals of professionalism in their career on the day they graduate. So it's a declaration by all RCSI graduates, all of those undertaking healthcare professions, medicine, pharmacy, physiotherapy, and physician associates. And we're going to be asked to take a similar declaration today at the beginning of your studies. And indeed, this declaration is similar to all of our postgraduate research degree awardees. So, as you make your declaration of professionalism with the RCSI President, Professor Ronan today, remember you are starting this year a great personal and professional journey. And we want to inspire and guide you to undertake it in a truly professional way. We look forward to working with you over the coming years to help you achieve your career goals. I now invite Professor Clive Lee, Professor of Anatomy, to address you on the anatomy room experience.
I'd like to join with my colleagues in welcoming you all to the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland and to the beginning of your professional training. This white coat ceremony is a rite of passage, a visible sign of your entry into a professional course. All 4 professions involve dealing with patients, and you'll meet your first patients in the anatomy room. But where do they come from? If you look at anatomy lesson paintings such as those by Rembrandt, the cadaver was always a convicted criminal who'd been executed that day. But the demand for cadavers exceeded the supply, so grave robbing and murder were resorted to. This all changed in 1832 with the passing of the Anatomy Act, specifically to ensure a supply of cadavers with which to educate doctors. Initially, the source was those whose bodies were unclaimed by their relatives. But in the 1960s, this changed when the Irish anatomists initiated a campaign to encourage members of the public to donate their remains after death for medical teaching and research. So it is these people whom you will meet in the anatomy room, Irish men and women who've generously donated their remains so that you may learn anatomy. Now, the people who donate their bodies to us want you to learn from them. It is their gift to you. They are both your teachers and your first patients. You can repay their generosity by doing your best, by studying hard, and by treating their remains with discretion and respect. Your clinical problems should not be discussed in public on the bus home, and nor should theirs. For the same reasons, you must not take photographs in the anatomy room. So our donors will also help teach you how to behave as a professional. Some of you, hopefully all, will have already commenced your anatomy studies. When you don your white coat and come into the anatomy room, you will meet some of the senior members of the health professions, people like Mr. Brian Lane, a graduate and fellow of the college. These are people to look up to emulate their knowledge, professionalism and kindness. They teach by example, and you will learn, I suspect, sometimes by osmosis and perhaps with a little bit of magic. I hope that you enjoy your anatomy course with us, resplendent in your white coats. They are health and safety devices to protect you in the anatomy room, so please keep them clean and out of the canteen. They are also an important professional symbol, so you have high standards to maintain. I congratulate you on reaching this landmark in your careers and your parents for helping you to do so. I look forward to working with you and wish you success and good luck. Thank you very much. I'm now delighted to introduce to you my colleague, Professor Maria Morgan, Director of Year 1 in the School of Medicine.
Good afternoon. I'm delighted to speak to you this afternoon about the RCSI STEP programme on behalf of the Deputy Dean for Student Engagement, Professor Celine Marmion. During your time in RCSI, you will be afforded many opportunities to grow and further develop on a professional level. As part of this journey, I would like to introduce you to our RCSI Student Engagement and Partnership, or STEP programme. Here in RCSI, we believe in the power of student partnership. In fact, we commit to nurturing, promoting and implementing a culture of partnership and inclusivity where the expertise and perspectives of both our students and staff are equally valued. And by working together, we will drive positive change across the RCSI community for the benefit of human health. Each year, we have a formal RCSI Student STEP agreement. These are agreements between RCSI and the undergraduate and postgraduate student unions. Our annual STEP agreements define how students and staff work together shaping our education and research programs, ultimately enhancing the student experience. Because if we can enhance our student experience through student-staff partnerships, then we will enhance the knowledge and skills of our graduates, and given that our graduates are our healthcare professionals, we will ultimately enhance human health. Our RCSI STEP programme offers you the opportunity to undertake funded projects to work in partnership with staff to improve our university, our education and research programmes, and also to engage with our local communities. Please go to our open access STEP Moodle site, read the 2021-22 STEP agreement if you haven't already, and seek out ways to partner with staff on key projects. We want to hear about your perspectives as students, but also avail of your expertise as learners. You as students will benefit by working with and learning from staff, and equally our staff will benefit by working with and learning from you, our students. And ultimately our entire RCSI community will benefit as a result. I wish you every success and happiness as you continue on your exciting journey in RCSI. I would now like to invite the Students' Union President, Jyoti Dewan, and also the Students' Union Examination Officer, Emmanuel Agare, to deliver presentations to you describing their experiences here in RCSI. We hope that their stories and words will inspire you to think about ways in which you may further progress your own personal as well as professional development. So now I welcome the Student Union President, Jyoti Dewan, and the SU Education Officer, Emmanuel Agare.
Good afternoon, President, members of the Platform Party, faculty, guests, and most importantly, fellow students. My name is Jyoti. I am a final year medical student here and the current Student Union President. And I'd like to start by thanking you all for allowing me the honor to be part of such a momentous milestone. At the end of this ceremony today, you will put on your first white coat as an act of symbolism for the healthcare journey ahead of you. 5 years ago, I sat in these very seats, somewhere over there, I think, donning my first white coat, feeling like a child trying on my parents' clothes in the mirror. I felt out of my depth, and I certainly didn't feel like a doctor. I sat there in disbelief at the fact that in only a few years, I would somehow have the knowledge, the skills, the responsibility to be a physician. Standing here today, I've realized it was not a magical somehow. From feeling faint in the anatomy room in first year to participating in patient care on the wards in final year, it is a process, as old as time, supported by the outstanding and experienced professors here that truly want the best for you. It is years of learning, forgetting, wondering why you didn't pay attention in that lecture the first time, and then learning again. I have a few new gray hairs to show for it. But through all those late night study sessions and early morning ward rounds after hitting snooze 7 times, the very people in this room will be the ones doing it with you. Right now, you might be sitting with some friends you've made over the last few months. But take a good look around you, at the people in front of you, and all the way across the room. In time, you will come to recognize every face in this room and reflect on how, in some way or the other, they've made an impact on you. Who knows, one of these faces might even be your future library crush. If you know, you know. These friendships, sometimes formed in the most unexpected ways, will be the ones to last a lifetime. All of us students in this room have come from every corner of the world to study here at RCSI. Take advantage of this concentrated diversity that makes RCSI so unique. This has undeniably been my most cherished aspect of studying at this institution. From planning events and performing with the Caribbean African Society, to visiting an RCSI friend in Malaysia, I have not only experienced, but become part of cultures I knew nothing about 5 years ago. By making these bonds, no matter where you travel in the world in 5, 10, or 20 years' time, somewhere you will have a trusted friend, a respected colleague, but most importantly, a couch to sleep on. These years will also offer you the opportunity to reinvent yourself, push yourself in ways you've never anticipated. Coming into RCSI, I never thought in a million years I would be standing here on the Students' Union giving you a speech. All those years ago, I was a wide-eyed student, afraid of public speaking and terrified of failure. As the world-renowned poet Eminem would have said, my palms were sweaty, knees weak, arms heavy. But with encouragement from peers ahead of me, and an attitude to take on every challenge as it comes, I tried something new. Eventually, I found myself debating confidently and campaigning in many SU elections, lost and won, over the years. And so my time at RCSI has not only been a time of academia and rigorous study, but also an enriching pursuit of personal development and the most formative years of my life to date. As Albert Einstein once said, a ship is always safe at the shore, but that is not what it is built for. Over the next few years, sail from the shore. Do something that scares you, whether that be in sports, the arts, academics, or even a new hobby. Give it a shot. You will surprise yourself with what you can achieve. Even if you fail, you'll do better next time and learn many lessons along the way. Both your successes and your failures will equally define you and contribute to the confidence you will develop over the years as a healthcare student. Trust me, there will be times where you have no idea what to do in a room with a patient, despite having frantically Googled things in the corner before going in. There will be times where, despite feeling so confident, you start crumbling under the endless barrage of questions from the consultant, feeling yourself turning redder and redder in the face. In these moments, you might desperately wish you could vanish into a hole in the ground. But it is also these moments that help you learn, and by final year, you will be reflecting on these times with a smile. No matter how it looks in the mirror, that white coat will feel like it fits more and more as the years go by. And always remember, as a testimony to your abilities, you have made it here to RCSI. With a support network of students ahead of you and staff looking out for you, you will make it as a physician. The most important part of achieving that goal is the journey in getting there. Cherish these years. The best moments come and go quickly, and core memories are formed without even realizing it. So when you put on your white coat today, pause, savor that moment, because it's going to mean a lot to you today and much more in the years to come. It is a symbol for the great trust patients place in you, the privilege of the responsibility you will carry, and it is a reflection of the many physicians before you who have shaped medicine to be what it is today. Congratulations on making it this far. By coming to RCSI, Einstein's ship has left the shore and is about to embark on a journey that will shape who you are. It is up to you how you want to steer it. I wish you all the most success on this path to becoming future healthcare professionals, and I look forward to being your colleague and friend in the future. Thank you.
Students, President, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, esteemed members of academic staff, and freshers old and new. I stand before you this afternoon with a message of hope, a message of motivation, and hopefully a message of perseverance. When the Vice Deputy of Academic Affairs asked me to make a speech this afternoon, from the perspective of an SU education officer, I was a little lost for words and slightly perplexed. I mean, a person can only speak for so long about the importance of study or the importance of extending library hours or the best way to utilize your Anki flashcards before you eventually bore a person to sleep. But then she instructed me more specifically to give a speech from the perspective of a final year student on the brink of graduation. A speech about personal growth and the challenges and positive experiences that I've had during my time here at RCSI that contributed to a mindset of success. I remember not too long ago, I was sitting where you are now, a young and sprightly freshman, full of energy, nervous about my first card signing, but enthusiastic to take on the challenges of being a medical student and excited to be taking the first steps in the world of healthcare. But as excited as I was apprehensive and I doubted myself. And I was unsure about what the future had in store for me at this university. And the more introductions and speeches that I heard, the more I just wanted someone to sit me down and give me some simple advice about the road that lay ahead of me in this course. Whether you're in pharmacy, physiotherapy, physician's associate, or medicine, each and every one of you has a race to run over these next few years, and it's not an easy one. So here's a quick 10-point list of some words of advice from an old man like me that I wish someone told me before I set foot on the racetrack and started to sprint. Take notes. Number 1, never be afraid to ask for help. Starting university life can be a daunting experience, especially in a new country and especially in a health sciences university like RCSI. Most of you have recently left the familiar and comfortable environment of a previous school or a previous job, an undergrad course at a different university, and now you're here. And you're expected to know so much so fast. Exam timetables, anatomy, pharmacology, where to look for research, where to look for accommodation, where to renew your GNIB card. It can all be so overwhelming. But the incredible thing about life here at RCSI is that there's always someone waiting around the corner, ready and willing to offer a helping hand. Right here on campus, you have the SARA office upstairs, the Compass office, student services, the SU, your class coordinators, all within arm's reach. So ask questions and don't stop asking them. To quote one of the wisest and most awarded professors I know, Professor Albus Dumbledore, help is always available and always given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it, or in this case, RCSI. Number 2, you're never too young to safeguard and prioritize your future. You may be in first year, or in the first year of your journey here at RCSI, but don't let anyone tell you that you're too young or too inexperienced to start working towards your dream career. I look out upon you all, and I don't just see students. I see future cardiologists, general surgeons, incredible GPs, radiologists, pediatricians, and leading community and hospital pharmacists in your fields. I see orthopedic surgeons. I see innovative ENTs and OBGYNs. I want each and every one of you to look around you. Seriously, look around you. The next Abraham Collies could be in this room. The next founding father or founding mother of robotic surgery could be in this room right now. So start to think about what your dream could be and start working towards it. Work extra hard to excel in that module. Get involved in research. Present at conferences. Apply for that extra summer elective, even though you don't feel like it. Your future is in your hands now. Number 3, study. A word you're all going to become very accustomed to over these next 4 to 5 years. When it comes to studying and preparing for exams, find out what works best for you and roll with it. One of the biggest misconceptions about university life is that there's only one way to study, and that's to sit in the library with your head buried in a book. But this couldn't be further from the truth. We're all such diverse and incredibly different people in terms of our hobbies and our habits and our personalities. The exact same applies to the way you study. And what works for you or your classmate might not necessarily work for someone else. Whether it be flashcards or watching clinical skills videos, discussing with your study group, writing things from memory on a whiteboard, or a mixture of the above. Find out what works for you. Find a time to determine what brings you success. Number 4, it's okay to fail. Now, I think some of you might think that was a typo or you might have misheard me, so I'm going to say it again. It's okay to fail. Because failing doesn't make you a failure, it makes you human. In actual fact, failure is one of the most important parts of growing up, but it's how we respond to that failure that defines us and makes us the people we are today. Number 5, a good night's sleep is your best friend the night before an exam, whereas an all-nighter's fueled by coffee and Red Bull, not so much. Number 6, we all have a comfort zone, step out of them. Often in life, it's the opportunities which scare us the most that reap the biggest rewards. Each and every one of us here is blessed. Blessed to be part of an institution that has so many incredible student societies and sports clubs, research programs, support networks for those who wish to pursue projects both domestically and pursue missions abroad as well. Never in my lifetime did I think that during my years at RCSI, I would have the opportunity to join a sports club or play in a band, teach tutorials to other students, or even partake in research overseas. Believe it or not, I even found myself roped up in a full feature-length musical at this university, only to find that the skills I gained from that experience made me a more confident and vocal clinician with patients. And that the friends that I made from that experience will be friends for life. Number 7, we all have our social bubbles, step out of them. In fact, don't just step out of them, broaden and burst those bubbles if you must. RCSI is so unique in that you can find friends or you can find students here from every corner and every reach of the globe. Before coming to RCSI, never in my life did I think that by the time I left this college, I would be able to confidently say that I have a best friend from Trinidad, from India, from Saudi, from Canada, Oman, Philadelphia, Pakistan, Ethiopia, Australia, Singapore, and everywhere in between. When embarking on a new life in a new city or a new country, the temptation is to stick with your tribe and only associate with people similar to you. Because as human beings, that's what we find comfort in. But as soon as you step out of that social bubble, you will find that those who you meet can greatly enrich your life. Because with diversity of friends and companions comes an even greater diversity of opinions, perspective, and a greater understanding of the world at large. Number 8, this university has an incredible counseling service. Use it. Sometimes we can become so consumed by the stress of our exams or so overwhelmed by chasing our goals that we sacrifice our own mental health in the process, our own well-being for the sake of academic success. But one thing that my time at RCSI has taught me is that your own personal peace of mind is priceless. So if you're going through a hard time or feeling the anxiety from the weight of exams bearing down on you, or you simply just need an attentive ear to listen to you, the college provides free therapy and counseling services to any student who needs them. At the end of the day, we're all working towards becoming reliable and empathetic healthcare providers, but you cannot take care of others before you take care of yourself. As our own SU welfare officer so often says, to be professional in healthcare, you have to first be professional in self-care. Number 9, college isn't a competition. This is not a competition, so help each other. Like I said, we're all running our own individual races. That doesn't mean that we get through it any faster by tripping up others as they sprint past us. And likewise, offering a helping hand to a sprinter who's tripped and fallen in front of you can also make your own race a lot easier in the long run. And finally, number 10, cherish every single moment. You're all about to embark on one of the most challenging yet incredible journeys of your life. And as cliche as it sounds, the first leg of that journey starts today. In fact, it was the great civil rights activist Nelson Mandela who said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." When we look at the world around us today, riddled with climate change, poverty, invasions, pandemics, we realize quite evidently just how true those words are. Your education is in your hands now, and the race is a mere 20 seconds away from starting. But if I ask anything of you all before I go today, I ask that you do your utmost to not forget to live in the present. We can get so caught up in contemplating the exams of last week or the assignments of next week that we forget to take every day as it comes. You may all think you have an era of university life ahead of you. Then you'll blink, and it'll all be over. So, brace yourselves. There are plenty of books to be read, plenty of challenges to be conquered, plenty of MCQs to be passed, plenty of friends to be made, and plenty upon plenty of experiences to be lived. You've all got a race laid out in front of you, and the starting whistle is only 3 seconds away. So on your mark, get set, and go.
Thank you very much, Jyoti and Emmanuel, for those really inspiring words and words of wisdom. And as our Student Union President and Education Officer this year, can I just say for you, as our newest students, they have really been the Students' Union that has helped us to come out of the pandemic. So many of the social activities and so on that you're enjoying this semester, the Students' Union has worked really hard to bring those back in a safe way. And we thank them both, particularly being here for you in a very important final semester in final year. And as Jyoti says, somewhere out there, there's another education officer and student union president of the future that maybe doesn't know it yet. So just think about, could that be you? Or what will be your legacy when you finish in this college? So here we are. I want you all to stand now and to put on your white coats. Okay, I think we're all just about there. There are many cultures in this room, and we work with colleagues in other countries, and people have different approaches to how they take a pledge, because this is a pledge that you're taking at the start of your studies. With some of our colleagues in our cultures, people will raise their hands when they take a pledge. They've done that from primary school. In other cultures, people put their hands on their heart. In other cultures, they just have their hands by their side. So whatever you feel comfortable as you make this solemn pledge in the start of your education here this year at RCSI, please feel very welcome to do that. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to our President, Professor Ronan O'Connell.
Just before we get to the very formal part of this, firstly, goodness, what a transformation. You all look so professional, and the spotless white coats, I hope they'll remain spotless for most of your profession. And can I just echo the words that were said about Jyoti and Emmanuel? Look around yourselves. Pinch yourselves, carpe diem, remember this day, because the people around you are the people who will be your lifelong friends. I can remember those wonderful days 40-something years ago in anatomy, and the friends I made there are still my closest friends. And so it is a great honor for me as President of RCSI to lead the White Coat Declaration today, and to celebrate this special occasion with you as you begin your healthcare career with RCSI. As each of you embark on your journey as students at RCSI, RCSI asks you to think about how you will learn the principles of professionalism. We ask you to reflect on and master the challenges of being a professional. We require you to commit to act from now in a professional manner and to begin to live up to the ideals that you will practice in the future as healthcare professionals. The declaration you're about to make is based on the RCSI Graduates Declaration. It is a powerful commitment to the highest standards of professionalism and ethical practice as you begin your studies in RCSI. I encourage you to stand and recite with me this declaration with pride. Listen to and absorb the words. And bear in mind that the next time you say these words will be at your graduation ceremony. So I now invite you to recite together with me the following declaration. Today, I will begin to practice my profession with conscience and dignity. As I learn, the health of the patient will be my first concern. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will remember that there is art to my profession as well as science, and that warmth, empathy, and understanding skills I will strive to develop may outweigh treatment alone. I will respect the confidential information that is entrusted to me even after a patient has died. I will not permit considerations of age, disease, disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient, nor to influence the appropriate completion of my duties as a health professional student. I will not use my professional knowledge to violate human rights, civil liberties, even under threat. I will study and respect the hard-won scientific gains of those in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge with those that follow, when and where I am appropriately qualified to do so. I will abide by the code of conduct of my profession, and during my studies in RCSI, I will strive to develop high standards of practice, lifelong education and research in the interest of human health. I make these promises solemnly, freely, upon my honor. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone, and I hope you have enjoyed this white coat ceremony. A proud moment for you and your families and friends, and us as faculty here today. That concludes our ceremony this evening. Please give yourselves a round of applause.
Please be standing for the platform party. Congratulations again, everyone. May I ask that you exit the auditorium quickly to allow for the next cohort of students to enter the auditorium. In keeping with our Green Campus initiative, please put your RCSI declaration in the recycling bins or keep them safe. Thanks.